Have him.
Yes, good morning.
All right, excellent. Always great to have you join us on 99.3 Nigeria Info, Sam City Todo.
The pleasure is mine.
I see you're out of the country, so I guess the time and all of that.
I'm here.
Oh, you're in the country. Okay, I was a bit confused. Excellent, Samson. Okay, so a busy week has also been for you. I understand a number of town hall meetings you've had in consultation with the head of INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu. So
Mm.
let's talk about what those conversations have been with INEC and other stakeholders. I know we have before us the 2023 general elections.
Well, thanks very much, and it's a pleasure to be with you this morning, and to also say good morning to Lagosians and everyone hearing us. Um, so this week, Yaga Africa hosted a town hall on electoral reforms, Act Fix Elections NG, and it was aimed at bringing stakeholders to discuss what aspect of our electoral process needs to change, needs to be reformed, to deepen the integrity of our elections and make votes count. As you know, the 2019 elections were marred by several or egregious violations of not just human rights, but also um, acts that undermine the integrity of the elections. You see the level of violence. It was just a missed opportunity for Nigeria to consolidate on the 2015 election. Um, and it was very, very clear. If you look at the Edo, the Kogi and Biafra elections, they were even worse, particularly Kogi elections. Um, Votes are now determined by bullets, by thugs, by by violence. Um, that is not what democracy and election should look like. And it's time for us to begin to think about how to reform the electoral process as we build towards 2023. Because as of today, we are 31 months to the 2023 elections. So it's here. And so we brought stakeholders together, the INEC chairman, the Minister of Justice, legislators, civil society actors to build consensus around issues relating to electoral reform. The first fundamental question was how do we end electoral impunity? How do we end violence? And so there was consensus that they need to have an electoral offenses commission that prosecutes electoral offenders, especially politicians that deploy violence for elections, those politicians that recruit the thugs, those politicians that sponsor violence. The other issue was around our voting or election management process.
Right.
And before the town hall, we had a video campaign on fixed elections and asking Nigerians, you know, to make three proposals, what identify three priorities for electoral reform.
Right.
And a lot of videos actually came in, but majority of Nigerians are clamoring for electronic voting.
Right.
They're clamoring for electronic transmission of results. They're calling for increased use of technology for our electoral process. And that formed the another basis for discussion at the town hall meeting. The other issue that came up was political parties and campaign financing, as well as how parties select candidates. You know, today, political parties do not hold transparency and accountability in their nomination of candidates. They charge very exploitative fees. Just look at Edo and Ondo.
Right.
Both major political parties, both PDP and APC, were charging over 20 million naira for nomination forms. That is why the stakes are so high in our elections. That is why when people are elected into office, their first preoccupation is how to recoup the money that they spend in their campaigns.
Mm.
And Nigerians are saying you cannot continue to exploit people by charging those high nomination fees. And it's important for the National Assembly to institute and prescribe limits that parties can charge for nomination forms and campaigns.
Right.
That way, we'll encourage more young people who are not too young to run. We'll encourage more women. We'll encourage more persons with disability, to participate in the process. So these were some of the issues that came up. And then the other issue was around timeline, that we need to amend the law between now and December 2020. Because if it moves to 2021, going to be enmeshed in politics, and our legislators will be more concerned about passing amendments that guarantees future electoral victory. And that should be the basis of lawmaking.
Absolutely. So, excellent. You had all of the actors like a jigsaw puzzle who will put the pieces together in ensuring that this goal, a collective goal and objective of having an election which is free, fair, and credible and transparent is what we hope to achieve at the end of the day. In case you just joined the discussion on Pinpoint on 99.3 Nigeria Info, we're speaking with Samson Itodo, who is the Executive Director, Yaga Africa. In case you don't remember him, he's the one who is behind the Not Too Young to Run movement. Successfully, that got passed into law last year by the National Assembly and then signed in by President Muhammadu Buhari, and that's an act now. Of course, it's a matter of conjecture how that will play out in 2023. Also, very importantly, you can join the conversation if you have any questions for Samson Itodo. It's 0809-597-5805. That's on WhatsApp. At some point, we'll open the phone lines if you have any direct questions for him. We'll let you in, but let those questions come in through WhatsApp. All right, so Samson, something very important I am looking at. A lot of people who've called in have said the elections happening in Edo in September and the election happening in Ondo a month later in October. Should have been enough time for some of those discussions we're supposed to have. It's INEC and the stakeholders and everyone involved in the election management process to see how they can, improve on the process of 2019. Others have said it's too short, but when now you say, for example, the National Assembly will be in 2022, already thinking of 2023 and sort of shut shop in terms of election amendment, and the need to make haste. You think it's a fair assessment to say whatever happens in Edo and the Ondo governorship election will be a pointer to what happens in 2023?
Oh, absolutely. Whatever happens in these two elections tells us how, one, the level of our preparedness, the temperament of our politics, and the readiness of our democratic institutions like security agencies, political parties, and INEC to safeguarding electoral integrity. I think it's important to actually underscore that the turnout for our elections are declining every blessed day. If you look through from 1999 to 2019, there has been a decline, for turnout. In 1999, the turnout for elections was 52%. In 2003, it was 60%. In 2007, it was 57%. In 2011, it was 53%. In 2015, it was 43%. In 2019, it was 34%. So there has been a decline. And you know what is interesting? There's been a decline, but the number of registered voters has also been on the increase. So what is really happening? Because in 1999, we started with 57 million registered voters. But in 2019, we were 80 million 4,084 registered voters, but we registered only 34%. And what that simply tells you is that, one, Nigerians, and based on a study, a very comprehensive study we did about voter turnout, is that, one, Nigerians are dissatisfied with governance because governance has translated into what you call the promise, has not delivered the promise of democracy. insecurity in the country today, it's on a high increase. If you look at the level of corruption, we still have and still grappling with corruption. There's lack of accountability. If you look at unemployment or jobs, for a lot of young people, they lack jobs. I was just discussing with a friend yesterday whose sister actually graduated with about 4 point something CGPA,
yeah.
but they cannot find a job. This is over 2-3 years, of graduating from the university. They can find a job, right? So I'm going to talk about the job losses. I've spoken to a couple media organizations over the last few days, and they've talked how the pandemic has disrupted work, and they've had to cut down on staff. People are losing on a daily basis.
Right.
Now, what happens is when these people become very idle, they take all forms of vices. The level of depression increases. The mental health situation that we have in the country also increases, and that's why you can see more the suicidal rate in Nigeria also increases. Government has failed in its responsibility to provide for the welfare and security of the people. When you tell people to go cast their vote, fundamental question they are asking is who votes help? Because if you go cast your vote, you're electing leaders who will take responsibility for providing you security, providing you a very clean environment, providing you access to quality education. So people don't see that connection, and that is why the decline, that explains the decline in voting at election. The other point was around the integrity of the process. And how many Nigerians today believe their vote will count? Just a few. Because when they go cast their vote, just look at the disgrace we call elections in Kogi State. Look at also what happened in Bayelsa. Will you call those elections? Kogi was even the worst. The level of impunity at which politicians use state institutions to undermine the election process because they want political power at all costs. So if we're not careful, Edo and Ondo are not properly managed because these two elections are coming against the background of Kogi and Bayelsa. It just tells you that 2023 is going to be worse than 2016. But Nigeria should not allow that to happen. And we have a role. That is why we keep the pressure on our representatives in the National Assembly to expeditiously, not just consider the electoral amendments, but to do so expeditiously, so that by December,
Okay. All right. Looks like we lost connection with Samson Itodo there, but we'll try and reconnect with Samson. Samson is Executive Director of Yaga Africa, and we've been looking at the number of points raised during a town hall meeting that was held and had all the stakeholders involved from the electoral management body, which is INEC, security agencies, the Attorney General of the Federation's office, National Assembly, responsible for the law, civil society, and a number of points we've looked at already, which is Samson has highlighted, include the management of the elections, political parties, what is happening with them, also very importantly, the electoral process, what are the areas that need to be tweaked, and then also tweaked. Remember, you can send us a message on WhatsApp 0809-597-5805. Let's hear what you have to say, about what we've been talking about so far. There's a question up on Twitter. The question is whether you think if the elections in 2023 will be credible. I already have a number of pointers to this one. So let's hear what you also think about that. A number of people also were sharing their thoughts. Security, old school, says accomplices in election. All right, so we're back with Samson Itodo. Sorry about we lost the connection at some point, but go ahead. You were talking about we lost the connection when you were talking about the areas where you hope to see some improvement. In the process with Edo and Ondo states.
No, there are four key areas that I think are very central.
Right.
The first is about election logistics. Now, let's be very clear that Do and Undo will be conducted very unusual circumstances, and that's the COVID-19 situation.
Good.
Now, INEC has issued a policy on conducting elections under COVID-19. Now, this new set of guidelines provides the framework on how INEC can conduct elections. There are three dilemmas that INEC needs to deal with, and not just INEC, but all the critical stakeholders. First dilemma is how do you safeguard public health and protect electoral integrity at the same time? That is the toughest challenge that INEC and stakeholders need to grapple with, because the infection rates are increasing, but we cannot also undermine the electoral process.
Right.
So how do you balance these two? And that is why early deployment of materials are very critical. Things upholding, safety guidelines at the polling unit are very critical to the success of these elections. In the management of ballot, we don't want to have people, come to polling units to vote on September 19th and October 10th, and then go infected. That is not what we all desire as a country. And so INEC needs to protect its staff and ensure that PPEs are available for its staff, and also ensures that, using hand sanitizers, cleaning the smart card readers and people come before they accredit is critical. The 2 meter distance that voters need to uphold or respect during the queuing for elections is very, very important. So the aspect about election logistics is very critical, and deploying materials early enough is key. We also hope that security agencies would also be professional, they will be impartial, they will be transparent in their management of this election. And in the pre-election period, you're going to see lots of campaigns. The parties are going to start their campaigns. Do they risk public health, risk the lives of people by hosting large gatherings without observing social distancing? We know how campaign rallies are. We hope that our political parties, all the parties who are involved in Edo and Ondo, will not err on the side of, will take caution in their campaigns and not expose people, to COVID-19 infection. If you look at party primaries, yes, the parties, they are best to observe social distancing and wearing of mask, but they've got to do more when it comes to campaign, because that way you have the vast majority of the people. The other issue is around result collation, and that's the weakest link in our elections. When elections are conducted and results are collated at the ward.
Sorry, Samson. I'm going to hold you on a pause briefly. So we'll come back and talk about this, the collation of results and the transmission, which you say is the weakest link, right after this quick ad break. We're speaking with Samson Itodo, the Executive Director of Yaga Africa, and we're looking at the entire election process, asking whether the elections in 2023 will be credible, be free or transparent, the question we're asking on Twitter. So we'll take a quick break and be right back. Please don't go anywhere.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
listening to your number one station for talk.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. Let's talk.
All right, welcome back. And on Pinpoint, we have Samson Itodo, the Executive Director of Yaga Africa. And I'm seeing some comments already up on Twitter, moving through through two screens. And this is Baba Tunde, who he says that it falls on the electorate. We don't trust the government and politicians found to exploit that. We should campaign voter mentality and make politicians trust us more than their ambitions. Debamba Dewale says, free and fair polls in this our country with this caliber of do or die politicians we have. Well, I pray for it to happen anyways. Old School says, personal and accomplice in electoral malpractice, so electorate are not safe going to the polling post to get killed. Rather, that was Adoyi who said that. All right, so keep those tweets coming up. We'll take them at some point, and I'll get on WhatsApp at some point too. All right, Samson, you talk about the weakest link in the electoral process, the collation of results and the transmission. INEC, I know at some point had said they had hoped that they would use the Edo and Ondo governorship election as a test to continue their work on this one. But then when I spoke to Oluwole Osaze Uze a couple of weeks ago, Director of Voter Education Publicity, he said, we're probably looking at 2021, push the date further. What do you think? How this will help? I know you have years of experience, election observation and monitoring across the African continent, and seeing countries like Kenya. I was in 2012 where they had the electronic voting transmission put in place. I saw that in Ghana also too a year later. But tell us, what are your thoughts, Samson, with the collation and the transmission of results electronically?
This was also one issue that featured at Town Hall on fixed elections, because we're looking at, the entire gamut of our electoral process and what needs to change. And one of the consensus from the Citizens Town Hall on electoral reforms was to fix elections, we've got to explore electronic transmission of results.
Right.
That way, real time. And then human errors maybe to a large extent may be limited, because you see how we have computational issues during our election. It happened in a full glare of Nigerians, where even officers were grappling with calculating figures. So it's a very Herculean task, and that's why at the town hall it was resolved that no, we need to explore electronic transmission of results for both Edo, Ondo, and for subsequent elections. And it should be done in a manner that is open, that is transparent, that Nigerians can see. The other issue is access to collation centers.
Good.
It is important that the process, you see, there are cardinal principles for managing elections. One of them is transparency. You have to be open. When collation processes are very opaque, when you prevent accredited observers and journalists, as well as party agents from getting into the collation center, it is suggestive that you want to alter figures or you want to manipulate the process. That is why that process itself needs to be open, and Nigerians need to see, the process. So the opening up of that process is critical. Access to the collation centers are very, very important. One of the things that, based on the INEC policy, we understand will happen, Edo and Ondo, is, yes, party agents, accredited observers will be granted access to collation centers. However, that will be based on strict observance of social distancing, as well as temperature checks.
Right.
Our security agencies need to secure collation centers. It happened in previous elections, in the Kogi elections, in the Bayelsa elections,
Right.
in the Rivers elections, where thugs invaded. In fact, even in Imo,
Right.
where invaded collation centers and disrupted collation. That's going to be unacceptable. And that's why the president has a critical role to play. The same way the president waded into the APC crisis, and it appears there has been a ruse, or in peace in the party. That's the same way we expect the president to be very vocal about the political class refrain from undermining and disrupting elections. I think it's very, very critical. If there's one thing that also came out of the town hall was the point Festus Keyamo, SAN, Minister of Labor, said. If you think that a ruling party who mobilized talk to rig and kill during elections will be held to account, then you need to do what? You need to wake up from this dream, because the security agencies themselves, if you don't insulate them from politics, right, we're never going to see the end of violence. We're not going to see the end of state institutions or state-sponsored violence or the level of electoral impunity. That is why the president needs to be very vocal and send a strong message to security agencies, to political parties, to let the Electoral Commission do its job, and the voters should decide who becomes their governor. I think a strong message of that nature is necessary at this particular time. And we as civil society are very, very concerned, because given the pandemic, given the COVID-19 situation, given the several restrictions that have been imposed by the federal government and the state, if we're not careful, politicians are going to exploit it to undermine the process. And this is what we must allow.
So talking about politicians, Samson, while we keep our eyes on the clock for the National Assembly and the executive to get their acts together and ensure that the Electoral Act gets passed as soon as possible, so there will be no more argument about whatever this has been built on doesn't exist, or you cannot build nothing on top of nothing. What are your thoughts? Both primaries, parties, political parties are actors and will have to play a huge role in ensuring credible elections happen. People have voiced oftentimes their mistrust and let's say also distaste for what happens with the politicians and their parties. And people have also looked at the process. You talk about weakest link within the elections. People have looked at the political process and look at the internal party mechanism for the parties. And I'm sure what you've seen in Edo State for the neutral is great viewing, great for the optics, if you ask me as a media person. But disastrous when you think about people watching how one governor has moved from a political party that brought him into office into another, and his main contestant has moved to his own party, and a lot of stuff also going on in Ondo State. And I cannot remember, maybe the Lagos state governorship primary for the APC, we had so much attention focused on the internal mechanism of the party. Whether we learned anything from it or not, I do not know. I guess it's left for the party to say, or for the general public to say whether they learned anything from lessons from internal party politics. But what are your thoughts from what you've seen with the internal selection process for candidates for Ondo and for Edo rather, and Ondo is still to come?
Nigerians need to understand that, one, all our political parties are the same. There's nothing different amongst them. The actors are the same. All you just have is the names are different, their logos are different, and their colors are different. And the reason why they are different is just a requirement of law and registration. Else, they would have been using the same color and the same name. Secondly, our political parties are not democratic in their management of party affairs. If there's any institution that has developed over the years, right, or has failed to develop over the years and emerge over 20 years of our democracy, our political party. That is why the political elite are the greatest threat to our democracy. So one, the nature of politics is do or die. Because the mindset of a Nigerian politician today, an average Nigerian politician, the mindset is public leadership as service. No, politics is investment. Politics is business. And what you do is you invest and then you recoup when you get into office. So if the mindset of our political elite is to exploit and primitively accumulate wealth and not serve the people, you have a problem. That is why we've ended up with this kind of leadership over the last 21 years. Leadership that does not care about the Nigerian. Leadership that does not care about our democratic institutions. That's just it. So if there is no shift in the mindset of our politician, if there's no shift in the character of our politician, you can make all the laws you want, you will never see anything. And let me make the point that we've had several electoral amendments. And the truth is, we can amend any law we want to amend. It doesn't reform the attitude of our politicians if they don't change their attitude. It's just pouring water in the basket. How can we change that? One is citizens' action, citizens' engagement. Citizens need to tell politicians, send a strong message to the political class that there is consequence for non-performance when you're saddled with the responsibility to provide leadership. And let Nigerians who are hearing me hear this very, very well, that if we end up with bad leadership, we, the people, should be held responsible. Because how do you explain that you have 84 million registered voters and only 34% came out to cast their vote? If you want to change that, if you don't want to end up with a leadership that does not care, what do you need to do? Come out and vote at elections. Because when you don't vote, someone is voting for you. 2, go and join political parties. Because it's the parties that do what? That field candidates during elections. When you are not a member of a political party, you're not organizing with your political party. You're not contributing to decisions. You're not organizing, and I mean real organizing in political parties. And you allow godfathers and oligarchs in those parties to hijack party matters and determine who gets what and when. It means you've also failed. Because what politicians don't like is pushback. And the democracy is about pushback. When you hear that democracy is about compromise, it's about asking questions, it's about accountability, it's about pushing back. Don't stay out. For those who can join politics, get into political parties and begin that reforms. You must not join these two major political parties, PDP and APC. You join them, right? There are other political parties. Today we have 18 registered political parties. And so you can identify one. If you find any, you can also start your political party. The process of registration is not very difficult. And the third, perhaps the last point that I also need to make is the need for independent candidacy. In the 8th and 7th Assembly, it passed the constitutional amendment. But the State Houses of Assembly didn't vote for it. In fact, worse is even Lagos. Lagos State House of Assembly refused to even vote on any constitutional amendment. And today, Lagos is also benefiting from constitutional amendment. And so that's something that we need to push. That in this constitutional amendment, independent candidates should be passed into law so that people can do what? Can run as independents. But I'll say for legislative elections, we can start with legislative elections. So you don't have to be part of a political party where they ask you to come and pay millions. You know what? It's just interesting. In Nigeria today, before you run for election, the moment you go to your party chairman and say you want to run, You know the first question they'll ask you,
How much do you have?
how many? No, not how much, because you can have 10,000. It's still an amount. But they'll tell you, depending on the elections you want to run, they will tell you you have 200 or 300 million in your account to start. For God's sake, why have we so commercialized public office? That's about the highest bidder and the highest spender. I expect those people to get into office and perform. No, it works like that. It does. That's what we need to change. And this new form of politics has to be driven by citizens.
Absolutely.
And citizens to wake up. Citizens need to wake up.
All right. Let's find out whether the citizens are awake now. On 99.3 Nigeria Info, be listening to Samson Itodo, Executive Director of Yaga Africa. And we're on Facebook, so Nigeria Info FM on Facebook. You can watch this interview live. The number to call, 0700 993 993 993. Again, 0700 993 993 993. Call us and let's talk. If you have any questions and you have difficulty getting through to us on the phone lines, you can talk to us on WhatsApp 0809 597 5805. So go straight to the point, because I see so many people trying to call in. Just a minute. Thank you. Hello and good morning.
Good morning. My name is Bada Kamal, coming from Lagos.
Your name is what?
Bada Kamal.
Bada Kamal.
Bada, B-A-D-A. Yeah, Bada
all right,
Kamal.
Bada Kamal. So
Coming from Lagos.
you're on to Samson Todo quickly in a minute.
So I want to talk in respect of governance in Nigeria. So from what he said, the president of Yaga, he has spoken well. APC and PDP do not represent hope for the poor population of Nigeria. Imagine when you want to contest for the position of a councillor in your area, you have to have up to millions. And that would bring you to the question, is a leadership position, is it only meant for the rich population? Do you have to be rich to be in the post of leadership? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. So that's your question.
That brings that question. And it is one of the major factors where that brings up political godfatherism. Because when you can't raise up that money, you see someone who is willing to help you. But at the cost of what? Nothing goes for nothing. At the end of the day, when they get you the position, you have to give back to those people who put you in that position. And that is one of the drawbacks in governance in Nigeria. And the legislative house, in respect to Keyamo, it is high time Nigeria stand up against them. Those people are hindering the success of this country, because everything they want their own take on it. Why would you halt something that is meant for ordinary Nigerians if they actually mean well for the people?
All right, Bada Kamal. All right.
You could as well just let him continue with the process. Then you probe in later if there are any kind of corruption process around it. But having to halt it.
All right, Bada Kamal.
Having to halt it without doing it.
Thank you, Bada. Thank you. So we don't derail conversation, and we talk basically mainly about this. But thank you very much for your observations about whether it's, you have to be rich to contest for office. Hello and good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Excellent. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Christopher, calling from Lagos, Shomolu, precisely.
All right, Christopher, in just a minute, please make your comments.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful day to be with Nigeria Info. I'm very happy with the way the speaker has spoken so far. But the problem we are having here is our ability to create, and that is my question, how can we create a good environment for good people, sensible people, people with sophisticated mindset to come out and cast their vote? Because you find that people normally do not want to come out because of safety, insecurity. Look at what happened at Agod in the last election. So, and they know what they do. They try to make sure the hoodlums and other things are outside at that particular period so that they can use them to manipulate votes and defensize some people, a very large number of the society. So what can we do to enhance safety? If there could be safety where everybody will vote, you will vote some people out on a standard basis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. I'll take two more calls and then Samson can respond. Hello and good morning.
Good morning.
Excellent.
My name is Chukudi. I'm calling from Ogun State.
All right, Chukudi, very quickly.
Please, the foundation of Nigeria, as far as the leadership of this country is concerned, is not well planned. It is lopsided. There's no how we can try to change situation. It is not favor a particular section of this country that they will work. As of now, if you go for Senate, if you go for Assembly, if you go for local government, is that for states? If a particular part of this country does not support you, you will not win election. And that is where we have these stooges. That's where they don't know how to impress. They don't know how to do anything for the president of this country. If they know what to do, we won't have Almanjiri, we won't have all these bad people, this thing happening in Boko Haram. This is happening because Haram have been up there. They will vote money for, you will ask me now, where is my substance? Do I have any evidence? They will vote money for, because who's Buhari now, the government? Buhari is nobody. But because they are spending money on military, on top of them, because most of them are there, they know how this country will work. As of now, promotion has happened in police. You find out 75% or 90% promoted as from North. So do everything. Check all commissioner of police, check all ministers. They are there. Go for Lagos. Almost all the DPOs almost are from North. So there's nothing we can do to change this situation until we can re-engineer this country. We can't have so much, in fact, suddenly organized that some place, particular part of countries will always win. They always win.
All right, Chukudi. Thank you very much. And I'll take one more call. And Samson. Hello and good morning.
Chief Obo.
Yeah, Chief Christopher. Good morning.
Marco. Quick one. Our guest mentioned Kogi, right?
Right.
And I hear my namesake mention what happened at Okota. I've been talking about this double D politics we're playing in Nigeria. It will not do us any good. Any party that foments trouble, INEC find out, like what happened in Kogi. We all know what happened, but nobody wants to say the truth. Any party that involved in violence, killing, thuggery, the third candidate, give that result, like what happened in Kogi. The other two parties that people are suspecting that foment trouble, give it to the third party, the person that comes third. So other ones will learn lesson. So all this thuggery will stop. Thank you, Chief Obo.
All right. Thank you very much, Christopher. Okie dokie. So, come over to Samson straight away. But let me go through WhatsApp. This one from Philemon in Lagos says, for Nigerian elections to be free, fair, and credible, we need to compel the president to sign into law electronic voting, to make our senators and lawmakers to enshrine our constitution independent candidacy. And then 3, he says, to further make public office less attractive. Olugbenga Dedeji says, I agree with my brother. Democracy is driven by citizens' participation, but most of us have given up. Nobody can give you freedom on the platter of gold. We can't be complaining every time. We need to wake up. Okwe Kende from Ijegun says, the election in 2023 is an arrangement election. Until the Nigerian people come together and fight this monster called leaders, it is not possible for a master to just release his slave. Like that. Interesting comment, if you ask me. So, Samson, the ones you can handle, I guess you deal with.
I think the first question is whether for elective office. The truth is, the way we have structured our politics, it's such that it only allows the rich, the wealthy, and those who come from affluent families run. And that is problematic. The truth is, there's nothing wrong in being rich. Nothing wrong with running for office, right? There's nothing wrong in coming from a political family that has been in office for long. There's nothing wrong.
Right.
But what is wrong is if there is no level playing field for people of different social class to contest for office. When political parties say that it peg 45 million naira as cost of fee, as cost of nomination form for the office of the president, what they simply say is only the rich can run for this particular office. When parties peg 20 million naira and above as the cost of nomination form, just sheets of paper, tell you is, if you are not rich and wealthy, don't come close to elective office. But that is an irony of what democracy and running for office should be about. Public office shouldn't be about the highest spender or the highest bidder. It should be about capacity. It should be about character. It should be about competence. You will continue to recycle this kind of leaders who do not understand what public governance is, who do not have empathy for their people in office, because they buy their way into office. So it is not about, I think we need to change that. That's why we are advocating for people to get into political parties and begin to organize and disrupt that place. Politics in Nigeria is very, very expensive. That's not enough. But we cannot continue to complain. We have to do something about it. And it begins with changing our laws. That is why that town hall we hosted this week will get to raising that consciousness of Nigerians that the time to begin to advocate for changes is now. The second point, which is mainly about political mobilization or credibility of elections. And I just want to say, as a way of just wrapping up, that yes, we've had horrible elections, no doubt. We've had horrible elections. There's an opportunity for us to defend electoral integrity and ensure that politicians don't have their way all the time. And it begins with voters coming out to cast vote. It begins with placing a demand on your representatives to pass electoral amendments. It begins with organizing within your community. Begin to prepare, get the numbers behind you. These are practical things that we can do. But please, anytime you have an opportunity to cast your vote, don't vote because that person comes from your religion or comes from your ethnic group.
Very important.
Vote that person has the capacity, she has the character, and he or she has competence to hold that office in trust for you and provide you the promise of democracy.
Absolutely. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Samson Itodo. Samson Itodo, Executive Director, Yaga Africa. Great to have you join us on Pinpoint on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. And please keep up the great work, because that's how democracy survives. Thank you.
Absolutely. Shoulder to shoulder. Thank you very much, Samson Itodo. And that brings an end to Pinpoint for today. Onyeche Kumakama is up next with Relationship 360. Make sure you are tuned in to your number one news, talk, and sports station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. I'm Auro Obo. Do have yourself a great weekend. Yalla, 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 yalla.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.